Okay, friends, today this is part 2 of Christmas tree questions and answers. If you didn't see part 1, go back to the channel and look it up. Yes, I am standing on a stool for this one because I wanted to get the Merry Christmas sign above the door. But one more really simple suggestion, but you should have measuring poles out at your farm so that people can measure their trees. Everybody that goes out there to pick up a tree picks a tree that's bigger than they can get in their house. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people, especially beginners to buying for their own home. Out in the field, they look smaller than they actually are. You know, a lot of people have 8-foot ceilings or whatever. They need to get a tree that will be under an 8-foot ceiling. So what we do is to help people out is we get a measuring pole, and we like to buy a PVC pipe because it's cheap, light, and a little bit flexible as opposed to a stick that might, you know, if someone runs it up against a tree, might snap it, break it. But even little kids can carry around a 10-foot PVC pipe. And then what we do is, you know, if you just stand it up, it's 10 feet tall. And then we take electrical tape of different colors. And the top foot we put in one color, and then we fill in the next foot in another color, and the next foot in another color, and we just say, hey, every change of color is a foot. You know, if you need an 8-foot tree, you got to get those top 2 colors off. You know, it needs to be under those. And a measuring pole, not everybody wants to use them, but it is something that gets used every year. They're like, hey, do you have something to measure? Well, yes, we do. And it's really light and flexible. It's not going to rot out in the field or, you know, decay. So anyway, get a 10-foot PVC pipe, make a measuring pole on it with different types of numbers. Make colors that people can see from the ground. Another question I'm always getting asked is, Rob, what's the future market of real Christmas trees? A lot of people are asking this because the price has gone up a lot lately. I think that's going to level off some. But also, the shortage of Christmas trees has pushed a lot of people to fake Christmas trees. And where, you know, the part of that is the fake Christmas trees are getting a little bit better looking. They're not the real thing. But, you know, then a lot of people don't want to put out the energy to go out to a farm, pick up a tree, put it up, take it down. And I got to vacuum needles. I was like, are you kidding me? How lazy are you? You know, I mean, you clean up after Christmas anyway and you vacuum the floor. You can vacuum up a few needles. But anyway, buy one of my trees and you won't have a lot of needles down the ground anyway. But anyway, so I do believe there will continue to be a market for real Christmas trees. You need to have a quality tree, and you need to have a quality experience. I think the experience is going to be a key for successful Christmas tree farmers. Okay, the tree is still the single most important thing, but the Christmas tree experience. A lot of people that live in cities now like to get out. You know, they go get their pumpkins at Halloween, and they like to go get their feet dirty and get a pumpkin out there, and then they want to come out to the farm and they get out of the city and go get a little bit dirty, put a little effort into it and get a Christmas tree. I think there will always be a demand for that. But the ones that have the experience, a more overall experience, are going to be the ones that thrive. So some of the things that people love at our Christmas tree farm is, one, we give free hot chocolate. I know a lot of people charge for that, but they like the free hot chocolate and candy canes, and it's just a gesture of friendship and welcoming them, and they like that. I could make more money selling it, but you know, I'm going to sell a $100 Christmas tree to them. They can have a cup of hot chocolate for free. The other thing is our petting zoo is really popular. You know, if I breed my goats at the right time, then I have baby goats in there that they can't feed, but they can touch and play with. And then people love pigs. If you have a small pig in the petting zoo, they just love that. So that's a couple different things. And a fireplace, or fire pit. I know some people are nervous about liabilities, but a fire pit seems to be something that creates a better experience. Even when it's a small percentage of people that actually stop by the fire, I think just seeing a lot of people walk by it, comment, and enjoy it, and just a little bit of smoke wafting up and knowing that there's a chance for warmth, those types of things people really enjoy. Now, we also will help cut the tree for people, haul it out, shake it. If we get too much larger, we can't do that for everyone. But, you know, those are things that people like. So you give a good experience, they'll do that. You know, different people, if you watch Phil Woods on Woods Tree Farm, you know, he had a video just recently on different things that he does to make it a good experience for the people, and Tony Stefani of Hillside Christmas Tree Farms on his YouTube channel. Those are two guys that have YouTube channels. I don't know them personally, but They're Christmas Tree Brothers. I believe they're good guys. I like what they're putting out. But they've done videos on what they try to do to create a good environment and a good experience for their farmers. So you should probably check out their videos as well. One thing I forgot to add about the friendly environment is having things for sale. We don't have a lot of products. I've made some, wood round snowmen and different things, and they sell really quickly, but we're more focused on the Christmas trees. And so we have had in the past, when we were busier and we weren't short of trees, let people set up in the barn. We have another barn there that's not for Christmas tree sales, set up, and there was a local craftsman that turned wood lathe bowls that were absolutely stunning, and people like that. And people keep coming back to, do you have anyone in the barn to this year, this and that, because they enjoy shopping for Christmas trees and seeing handcrafted objects. I just bought a planer last week for one of my projects that my wife asked me to do. I'm a woodworker myself, but the guy, I was saying, what are you doing in your little wood shop here? And he was making trivets about yay big round circles, and they looked like intricate paintings, except he was cutting them out with scroll saws, different designs, and they were just magnificent. And he was like, I'm selling these for like $35. I'm like, really? How long does this take you? I'm looking at the intricate work that's done. He goes, oh, it takes me about 10 hours. I'm like, you're putting 10 hours into it and you're selling for $35? He said, he's a retired guy. And he says, I just want to get enough wood to make some more and maybe have a couple bucks. Like, wow, this is amazing. So when I got home, actually, after buying the planer and set it up, I called him back and I said, hey, if you want to sell what you have, and if you make them smaller, like Christmas tree ornaments, and if you brought those out to the farm, I promise you they would sell really big. So he said, well, he thanked me and he said, I'll think about it and call me again next fall and we'll see where we're at. But having that handcrafted objects on the farm seem to create the atmosphere, especially for the wives. And just like, well, a lot of it's for the wives, let's be honest. The one thing that's specifically for the guys is the fire pit. I don't know how many times the husbands come in and they're like, yeah, it's your tree. You tell me what you want. I'll be here by the fire. But that doesn't usually go over very well. They ended up going out there and helping her pick the tree because it's supposed to be a family event. So one more thing I forgot to mention about the fake Christmas tree. This is kind of funny, at least I hope you think it's funny. So I teach horticulture, and one of the things that I have my kids do is a weekly journal, and they have to come up with 5 things that they learned that week. Either I said or we did it in a project, and just journal things that they learned that week. And at the start of this month, as we started talking more about Christmas trees, because it's appropriate this time of year, I was reading the class's journal, and over 50% of the kids put in there, if your parents buy a fake Christmas tree, they don't really love you. And so that is obviously something I had jokingly been expressing to my kids. Your parents don't love you if they buy a fake Christmas tree. And obviously I had said it more than once because as I was going through the journal notes, the most consistent theme in there is parents who buy a fake Christmas tree don't really love their kids. So at least I'm glad I can teach America's youth something important. We don't sell smaller trees cheaper, especially right now, because right now we're on a shortage of trees, and people are like, I only want a 4 or 5 foot tree. And I said, you don't want to buy it here because all of our trees are the same price. And they said, well, why are you doing that? And I said, well, if you take a 4 or 5 foot noble this year and want to pay only $50 for it, in 2 or 3 years that's going to be a $100 tree, and we're short of inventory. As we get our younger trees growing up and have more, we might start selling more smaller trees at a lower price. But one thing I am considering doing is taking some of our rows and double planting them, and then marking every other one designated as to cut for a tabletop tree or whatnot. You buy the seedling for less than $1. You get them in there in the ground. You grow them for a few years. You cut them out before they crowd each other out. I could do this with several varieties, but I could get a Doug fir to grow 3 or 4 feet in just a couple years and get that out, get a few bucks, and it's not crowding out to the tree. So that's another thing we're doing is considering designating a couple rows to overplant, but just know whether they sell or not, every other tree has to come out in a few years. So there's the Cliff Notes version on some of the topics and questions that have been coming up. I do have some longer videos on some of these topics and my Christmas tree list on my YouTube channel, so feel free to look at those. Also, if you have any other questions that you'd like answered that I could try to answer, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And many of you Christmas tree farmers that are viewing these and you have knowledge or good ideas, please share them with us so I can learn as well as my other viewers. And Thank you for those of you that have commented to me, and even some of you even called me personally and said, thanks for doing the videos. We really appreciate it. We're learning a lot. One of my main love languages is words of affirmation, and I try to be a helpful guy. And so when people say thank you, we really appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me. So anyway, thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching and cleaning horticulture is my job, and outdoor projects are my passion. Hope to see you again soon. Be blessed, everyone, and Merry Christmas.